Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brendan with Evoke Bikes. So, why all this free content? What is the point of putting all this stuff out? I've been asked this question before, and I was actually on the Trainer Road forum, and one day someone had posted something to the effect of like, "Hey, this guy has a somewhat interesting story within cycling. Seems like he used to be selling medical devices, bounced from that, started this coaching company, races a ton, and is clearly super passionate about cycling." And that's really honestly where this all comes from. It's just a passion for riding, even more so than racing. And it all started when 2 years ago, so January 2019, yeah, we're coming up on 2 years. Patrick and I had coached in Nashville with a small group there, and I really wanted to get into pushing content out and making blogs. And I'd always been a blogger. I had a small sort of weird, like, I don't know if you call it, it's not an aggregate, but like I had a blog that contained things that were kind of like hype beast, like cool products. And there was some things that were like bike races, and then there was like rap music. So it was like a very weird like mishmash. But surprisingly, when I stopped doing it, I had a couple friends that reached out from college that were like, "Man, your website was like one of my daily pit stops." And I was always kind of into the analytics, like who was looking at it, where are people coming from. It was really before Google Analytics got super deep. This is probably back in 2010 or so. But cycling changed my life, and I've never really posted the second part of that story, but cycling definitely provided me an outlet for not only energy, but goal setting and being an athlete again. I mean, I was a basketball and volleyball player, never in endurance sports in high school or college. And after I got out of college, I really lost that. And even in college, I lost that. And it was really an amazing feeling once I understood how racing worked and got comfortable riding in a group. I caught the bug badly, and just that's all I wanted to do was ride and race and figure out how to get faster. And I think cycling really, I was going down one road and cycling kind of pivoted me to another one that was much more positive for me. And I'm super thankful for that. And I will always remember I was in a training race, and it was my first or second A race. So Cat 1, 2, and 3. And I was actually still technically a 4, but since I was doing well in the 4 or 5 training races, they allowed me to do the A race, and I was super pumped. And my goal had always been to race with the best guys at the race. Like, if I won a Cat 4 race, I really wanted to be in the Cat 1, 2 race. But when you're 4, you're nowhere near racing with 1, 2. It was just such an awesome, to see the categories and to see where you could go really motivated me. And we were in a training crit, and a brake went off the front, and it was 3 guys on 3 different teams. And one of the guy's teammates, shout out Mark Paris, he looks at me and goes, "You need to be in that." And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, like go." And I'm like now? And he goes, "Go now." And I just took off. I didn't even really realize like what bridging to the brake was, or, he though showed me and helped me. I bridged up to his teammate, shout out Brian Cardona, and I actually won from the group of 4. And it was like a really amazing moment. I think it's like crazy to think back on right now how long ago that was, and how far I've gone with cycling just in terms of like how much I've fallen in love with it. So it's actually like making me super emotional right now thinking about GVCC. It's an amazing family of cyclists. But anyways, so why all this free content? I had always been a coach in sports of some aspect. I coached CYO basketball at my parish. But once I started doing all these weekend races, and like weekend training rides in Rochester were huge, like everybody showed up during the winter, and it was like, man, I'm coaching from 10 to 2 if we have a game. I really want to be riding, da da da. And so I chose, hey, I'll get back into coaching at some other point. I'm going to get better at this, and hopefully I can give back to the cycling community at some point. Once I got into cycling, I remember a father came up to me, and this isn't a pat on the back, but this is to hopefully bring up the topic that cycling, we go to a race and we talk to the people that we know, but we don't always reach out to the new person. And we've all been the new person that doesn't necessarily know anyone there. And that's a really awkward feeling. And so I always would look around and be like, who looks like they feel out of place? And just be like, what's up? What's going on? Even just a hello to somebody makes them be like, okay, I belong here. Like, I'm in this small random town. I don't know anybody. Like, it is just weird, especially if I was going to races by myself. So it's like, it makes you nervous. Made me nervous at least. And a dad came up to me and he was like, hey man, you always talk to these Cat 4s and 5s and it means a lot to them. And I'm like, dude, I'm just a dude on a bike. But it really does. And I'm not, again, it's not pat on my back, but like as cyclists, we move along in the categories and then we forget what it was like to be the brand newbie person. And I think we need to do that. So I think part of Evoke in creating a community rather than just like a coaching service was one thing that Patrick and I talked about. And I hope that our athletes do feel more that it is a community vibe beyond the little things of like, we have a WhatsApp group and now we started like a Facebook group and ways to communicate with other people besides just us as coaches. So that's always been important. But I'll answer the question, why all the content? So I had a podcast. You can actually look it up still. I think it's, if you Google Flip Twitch podcast, our biggest episode was with Dan Chabanoff, who's a pro cross racer. We used to battle it out in big road races. He was down in New York, Race for Foundation. I was in upstate New York. We had like 3,000 listens or something, all from New York City pretty much because he's a super popular dude. And that was like, that felt really cool to put something out there. I didn't really have I was selling medical devices. I didn't have the time to like focus and really, all these little videos and blog, all this stuff takes way more time than you would ever think to do it in the right way. And so, you know, I just kind of like did what I could, but it wasn't really a consistent thing. But I love building websites. I love seeing traffic. I love building businesses. It's really how I've always been in my career, even in medical devices. So when I was in Arkansas, when I moved to Memphis at a hospital, I hit the wall and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I have no passion for this and I'm just burnt out. I did it for like 13 years, almost 14, I think. And I had some athletes and people always said, man, why don't you like just coach? And I always thought, well, there's no way to really make a coaching company super successful. But, you know, there is different types of coaching companies. There's Trainer Road, Hunter Allen, but he's like an OG. He's been doing it a really long time. And I started thinking, well, I know some stuff about SEO. Maybe I'll put some blogs out there. And so I was talking to Patrick about this. And it really started from, we were on the phone. We were talking about some random topic. I wish I remembered what it was. And I said, hey, man, we should like record this or we should post this. I don't even know if we were thinking of a blog at that point in time. But I wanted to push out a lot of content and things that I just thought would help people and kind of a way to give back to the community that has given me so much. I don't know what my life would be like without cycling. It's kind of scary to think about. So we started putting stuff out and just dripping it like once a week. It wasn't as consistent as it is now, or there's not as much. It was consistent. But we also started, doing those power file analyses for people, and we started to look through what some people were. Hey, I'm having trouble, and I get coached by this person, or hey, I bought this template, and like there are some things out there giving coaching a really bad name. And you guys know me, I'm positive only. I couldn't believe some of the things that people were paying for, and I was like, this is not right. How do we preach being the anti-template? And while we're on that topic, we actually decided just the other day to discontinue the $8 plan, because while we wanted to do it to provide coaching for athletes that cannot afford a one-on-one coach, we feel like we are falling short in providing the value of making you a better cyclist. The alternative is us having even more of this free content, whether it's through the YouTube, the blog, the podcast, however it is. Since you can't put the money in, you do need to put more time in and learn so that you can coach yourself. And we felt like instead of putting time into $8 plans, we need to put the time into more content so that you can get a better big forest picture of how to train. And I think in the long run, it's more work on your end, unfortunately. It's not less work for us. It's just we're missing the mark with the $8. And I think while it started really well because there were a few people and we did like 20 of them, once it started gaining too much steam, I was like, I feel like we're starting to walk down a template rope because it was getting, people wanted to do really long stretches of time, like a season long. I'm like, well, you can't predict a season. Like, I'm changing people's workouts. I usually only do 2 to 3 weeks at a time. It's just not customized enough for what we want to provide here at Evoke. So then there was also really high level stuff like the WKO5 webinars, really dense and really great information, but that's suited for a small section of the cycling population that wants to like nerd out and understand all the nuances of training with power and understand all the nuances of that platform. I mean, you have a couple power spikes in there and all your data is wrong. Not all your data, all the output can be wrong. So, I think it's a great thing that what they do, but it doesn't necessarily serve the masses as much. So I was like, well, we need to like dilute that a little bit and put out content that has some way for everyone to engage with, but also has thought and constructive meaning to it so that it actually will help people get faster. So why is it free? To be honest, I don't know. We get a lot of people that are like, the best comment is these guys provide stuff that most coaches will charge for. And I love learning. I went to a meetup by another coach here. And when someone in Memphis heard that I was going to go, they're like, hey man, that seems kind of weird. And I was like, I just want to hear what they have to say. So I actually messaged the guy. I was like, hey man, do you mind if I come to this tonight? Like, I'm always trying to learn. I got a stink eye from a couple of people because they're like, why is this guy here? It's like, dude, it's biking. Like, this is just, we're all trying to learn and get better. It's a sport that has so much new stuff coming out. I mean, that's why the couple of videos ago was, what's the latest craze going to be? There's always new training techniques. It's always good to learn and get more information from people. So we really wanted to share just what our experience is. And that's kind of what Evoke is. Going back to the community thing, I said it once, we're not for the people, we are the people. I mean, I go to coaching summons, I talk to coaches, I compare notes with people. I have no training secrets because it just doesn't make sense to me to have that. I don't know. So I've joined my point was I joined some email chain or email newsletters, and then sometimes it's like a paywall gets thrown up and it's like, man, I feel like you kind of like baited me into that. And I think while I'll never say never, I'm going to say I can't ever see me having just paid stuff on the site. Maybe there becomes an elite section at some point, but do you know what I would do right now? I would say anybody that's on our mailing list right now, I would let you in for free because you've been there since day one and I want this to be free content. And I guess the other thing is, I'm a big Gary Vee fan. He's got a whole book called Jab, 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 Right Hook, like give, ask for the business. I think it's really important to have athletes be able to make a connection with me and understand what my methodology is, what my philosophy is, and see kind of what I'm all about before they sign up for coaching, because coaching's not cheap. And I wouldn't get a coach if I couldn't understand what they were all about and how they were going to help me. So really, I love cycling. Cycling's changed my life. I love to blog. I like to see website traffic. I don't know what that is. I just really enjoy it. No doubt, Evoke is my most successful blog ever. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Craig, for helping me to build this thing. And also Peter Wally, who when we first started in the infancy was there to help get even things posted because there were just so many things going on. But I never thought it would be where it's at now, but we're like really just scratching the surface. I hope that it becomes, where's Evoke Bike going? I mean, I'm super pumped that we have an incredibly successful esports team. I know that when the gravel team gets to race after COVID, it will be successful. The road / Graham Fondo squad. I'm really proud of kind of what this thing stands for. And I guess what is Evoke? I don't want to say we're the anti-template because that's what is Evoke? We are just cycling media content opinion, because it's just us sharing what we know. We are not the Bible. There are many ways to do things. We've just trained a lot. We've trained a lot of people. We've helped a lot of people get faster. And that's really what we like doing. So that's why it's free. Yes, we do put it out so you guys also know about us, so that if you need a coach, look us up. But there is so much information on the blog that you can definitely get yourself pointed in the right direction. You can definitely pick some main principles that even small micro changes can make a macro effect on your training. It will greatly increase your ability to ride faster, to be a stronger cyclist or bike racer if you want to race. Like, you don't have to be a racer to consume the content. So my only pitch is, will you please share it? Because while we're getting over 100,000 people on the blog a year now, I want to see that to be 500,000. And hopefully this grows beyond us. That I'm super excited that Craig's getting busy. I think Patrick might almost be to his limit with athletes. And we're going to be bringing on more people and just trying to get more help out there for us all to get faster. And you guys have had incredible comments, incredible suggestions. We truly appreciate it, because it's corny as hell. But like, without you guys, there is no Evoke. There is no community. And we're super stoked for people that were able to get one of the LEL kits to kind of shine the flag out there for Evoke. And yeah, if people ask, what is Evoke? It's a cycling media content coaching company platform for exchanging ideas. It's biking. That's really what we're doing. So that's Evoke. Hopefully that shines some light on why there's all this free content. We just want to share some stuff, and please continue to share your thoughts and opinions. We truly appreciate you guys, and talk to you later. See ya.